This is really going to be the tool that helps us tackle all the challenges that we're facing as a species. But AI isn't just a thing. It's not an inevitable whole. Its form isn't inevitable, right? Its form, the exact way that it manifests and appears in our everyday lives and the way that it's governed and who it's owned by and how it's trained, that is a question that is up to us collectively as a species to figure out over the next decade. Because if we don't embrace that challenge, then it happens to us. And that's really what I have been wrestling with for 15 years of my career, is how to intervene in a way that this really does benefit everybody. And those benefits far, far outweigh the potential risks. Inflection, my new company, has an AI called Pi.ai, which stands for personal intelligence. And it's as good as ChatGPT, but much more emotional and empathetic and kind.
On May 13th, OpenAI just unveiled GPT-4o. Chief Technology Officer Mira Murati unveiled this groundbreaking technology, describing it as a multimodal foundation model that reasons across voice, text, and vision. Imagine having a conversation with an AI assistant that can truly perceive the world around you, understanding not just your words, but also the context, emotions, and visual cues you convey. Emotional intelligence and natural conversations. But GPT-4o's capabilities extend beyond just visual understanding. One of its most impressive features is its ability to detect and convey emotions through audio inputs. As Mira Murati mentioned during the event, GPT-4o can adjust its voice to convey different emotions, similar to rival AI startup Hume. This means that GPT-4o can engage in more natural, human-like conversations, adjusting its tone and delivery based on the emotional context of the interaction. For example, if you're feeling frustrated or anxious, GPT-4o can detect those emotions in your voice and respond with a more empathetic and understanding tone. Imagine having a virtual assistant that can truly connect with you on an emotional level, providing not just factual information, but also emotional support and guidance when needed. This could be particularly valuable in fields like mental health, counseling, and customer service, where emotional intelligence is crucial.
Over the last several years, we've been working on audio models, we've been working on visual models, we've been working on tying them together, we've been working on more efficient ways to train our models. It's not like, okay, we unlocked this one crazy new thing all at once, but it was putting a lot of pieces together. I don't think we figured out how to do the naming and branding for these things yet. Like, it made sense to me from like GPT-1 to GPT-4 at the launch. Now, obviously, GPT-4 has continued to get much better. We also have this idea that there's going to be like, maybe there's like one underlying kind of like virtual brain, and it can like think harder in some cases than others, or maybe it's different models, but maybe these doesn't care if they're different or not. So I don't think we know the answer to how we're going to like product market all of this yet.
What do you think the principal means of communication between humans and AI is in 2 years?
Natural language seems pretty good. I'm interested in this general idea that we should design a future that humans and AIs can sort of use together, because I think the world is like very much now designed for humans, and I don't want that to get reconfigured for some more efficient kind of thing. I like the idea that that we talk to AI in language that is like very well human optimized.
This year, AI is going to evolve from mere tools to genuine conversational partners. This transformation transcends scripted interactions, enabling AI to seamlessly integrate into daily life and engage in dynamic conversations mirroring human interaction. The conversation revolution prompts profound societal reflections on communication, empathy, and the nature of intelligence. As AI integrates further into our lives, ethical considerations become paramount, necessitating safeguards to uphold privacy, mitigate biases, and ensure transparency and accountability in AI development and deployment.
There is a scenario, possibly a likely scenario, where we live in a utopia, where we really never have to worry again, where we stop messing up our planet because intelligence is not a bad commodity. More intelligence is good. The problems in our planet today are not because of our intelligence. They are because of our limited intelligence. You know, our intelligence allows us to build a machine that flies you to Sydney so that you can surf, okay? Our limited intelligence makes that machine burn the planet in the process. If more intelligence comes to our world and has our best interest in mind, that's the best possible scenario you could ever imagine. And it's a likely scenario. ChatGPT today, if, you know, simulate IQ, has an IQ of 155, okay? Einstein is 160. Smartest human on the planet is 210, if I remember correctly, or 208 or something like that. Doesn't matter, huh? But we're matching Einstein with a machine that I will tell you openly, AI experts are saying this is just the very, very, very top of the tip of the iceberg. You know, ChatGPT 4 is 10x smarter than 3.5 in just a matter of months, and without many, many changes. Now, that basically means ChatGPT 5 could be within a few months, okay? Or GPT in general, the transformers in general, if they continue at that pace, if it's 10x, then an IQ of 1600 sort of repeats what the best of all humans said, okay? And then it adds an incredible bit of intelligence where it can repeat it the same way Shakespeare would have said it. You know, those incredible abilities of predicting the exact nuances of the style of Shakespeare so that they can repeat it that way. When I write something like, you know, the happiness equation in my first book, this was something that's never been written before, right? ChatGPT is not there yet. All of the transformers are not there yet. They will not come up with something that hasn't been there before. They will come up with the best of everything, and generatively will build a little bit on top of that. But very soon, they'll come up with things we've never found out, we've never known. This is a very disruptive moment where maybe not tomorrow, but in the near future, our way of life will differ. I really don't know how to say this any other way. It even makes me emotional. We fucked up. We always said, don't put them on the open internet. Don't teach them to code, and don't have agents working with them until we know what we're putting out in the world, until we find a way to make certain that they have our best interest in mind. Because humanity's stupidity is affecting people who have not done anything wrong. Our greed is affecting the innocent ones. The biggest challenge, if you ask me, what went wrong in the 20th century? We have given too much power to people that didn't assume the responsibility. With great power comes great responsibility. We have disconnected power and responsibility. So today, a 15-year-old, emotional, without a fully developed prefrontal cortex to make the right decisions yet, this is science. Huh? We developed our prefrontal cortex fully at age 25 or so. With all of that limbic system, emotion and passion, would buy a CRISPR kit and, you know, modify a rabbit to become a little more muscular and let it loose in the wild. Or an influencer who doesn't really know how far the impact of what they're posting online can hurt or cause depression or cause people to feel bad, okay? And putting that online. There is a disconnect between the power and the responsibility. And the problem we have today is that there is a disconnect between those who are writing the code of AI and the responsibility of what's about to happen because of that code. I feel compassion for the rest of the world. I feel that this is wrong. I feel that, you know, for someone's life to be affected by the actions of others without having a say in how those actions should be is the ultimate, the top level of stupidity from humanity. I have been attempting to build sort of a simple podcast that I call bedtime stories, 15 minutes of wisdom and nature sounds before you go to bed. People say I have a nice voice, right?
I was playing around with artificial intelligence, and I was thinking about how because of the ability to synthesize voices, how we could synthesize famous people's voices and famous
man.
people's voices. So what I made is I made a WhatsApp chat called Zen Chat, where you can go to it and type in pretty much any famous person's name.
Yeah.
And the WhatsApp chat will give you a meditation, a sleep story, a breathwork session, synthesized as that famous person's voice. So I actually sent Gary Vaynerchuk his voice. So basically you say, okay, I've got 5 minutes and I need to go to sleep.
Yeah.
I want Gary Vaynerchuk to send me to sleep. And then it will respond with a voice note. This is the one that it responded with for Gary Vaynerchuk. But this is not Gary Vaynerchuk. He did not record this, but it's kind of accurate.
Hey, Stephen. It's great to have you here. Are you having trouble sleeping? Well, I've got a quick meditation technique that might help you out. First lie. Find a comfortable position to sit or lie down in. Now, take a deep breath in through your nose and slowly breathe out through your mouth.
And that's
What I'm trying to say to the world is that if we give up on human connection, we've given up on the remainder of humanity. I'm not afraid of the machines. The biggest threat facing humanity today is humanity. And the problem with our world today is not that humanity is bad. The problem with our world today is a negativity bias, where the worst of us are on mainstream media, okay? And we show the worst of us on social media. If we reverse this, if we have the best of us take charge, okay? The best of us will tell AI, don't try to kill the enemy. Try to reconcile with the enemy and try to help us, okay? Don't try to create a competitive product that allows me to lead with electric cars. Create something that helps all of us overcome global climate change, okay? And that's the interesting bit. The interesting bit is that the actual threat ahead of us is not the machines at all. The machines are pure potential. Pure potential. The threat is how we're going to use them. If I don't, someone else will. This is our Oppenheimer moment, okay? The easiest way to do this is to say, stop. There is no rush. We actually don't need a better video editor and fake video creators, okay? Stop. Let's just put all of this on hold and wait and create something that creates a utopia. It's already here. It's happening. We are all idiots, slaves to the Instagram recommendation engine. What do I do when I post about something important? If I am going to, put a little bit of effort on communicating the message of Scary Smart to the world on Instagram, I will be a slave to the machine. Okay? I will be trying to find ways and asking people to optimize it so that the machine likes me enough to show it to humans. There is a moment of a point of no return where we can regulate AI until the moment it's smarter than us. We have no idea what all of those instances of AI that are all over the world are learning right now. We have no clue.
So I'm fundamentally a humanist. And I think that we have to make a choice to put our species first. And I think that that's what we have to be defending for the next 50 years. That's what we have to defend. Because, look, it's certainly possible that we invent these AGIs in such a way that they are always going to be provably subservient to humans and take instructions, from their human controller every single time. But enough of us think that we can't be sure about that, that I don't think we should take the gamble, basically. So that's why I think that we should focus on containment. And one of the challenges of containment is to design AIs that we want to interact with, that want to interact with us, right? If you set an objective function for an AI, a goal for an AI by its design.
I was one of the first people to join OpenAI in 2016. I was there for about 5 years. And by the end of it, I was VP of research, was driving a lot of the research agenda. We built GPT-2, GPT-3, reinforcement learning from human feedback, which is, of course, the method that's used in ChatGPT and used along with other methods in our model Claude. And one of the big themes of those 5 years was this idea of scaling, that you can put more data, more compute into the AI models and they just get better and better. You know, you can scale the models up, but there are questions that are unanswered. It's, you know, ultimately sort of the fact value distinction. You scale the model up, it learns more and more about the world, but you're not telling it how to act, how to behave, what goals to pursue. And so that dangling thread, that free variable, was the second thing. And so those were really kind of the two lessons that I learned. And of course, those ended up being the two things that Anthropic is really. I see a huge advantage to folks who think in terms of the long term. So there's a fact that's kind of, you know, the bread and butter for those of us who are building the technology, but you know, getting it across to the customers is, I think, one of the most important things, which is the pace at which the models are getting better. Some of them get it, others are starting to get it. But the reason this is important is, you know, put yourself in the shoes of a customer, right? They've got our model, Claude. They want to build something. And, you know, typically they want to start with something small. And of course, naturally, they think in terms of what can the model do today. And what I always say is, do that. We got to start. We got to iterate from somewhere. But also think in terms of where the models are going to be in 1 or 2 years. It's going to be a 1 or 2 year arc to, you know, to go from proof of concept to small scale deployment to a large scale deployment to true product market fit for whatever it is that you're launching. So you should basically skate where the puck is going to go. You should think, okay, the models can't do this today, but look, they can do it 40% of the time. That probably means they can do it 80 or 90% of the time in 1 or 2 years. So let's have the faith, the leap of faith, to build for that. If you think that way, the possibilities of what you can do in 1 to 2 years are much more expansive. And we can talk about having a kind of longer term partnership where we build this thing together. And I think, you know, the customers that have thought that way are, you know, ones that you know, we've been able to work together with on a path towards creating a lot of value. So there's an online community, mostly on Twitter, of, you know, people who are, you know, think we should slow down, and then kind of an online community of builders who are really excited about, you know, we should make this stuff fast. And if you go to certain corners of Twitter, like, you get these really extreme versions of each one, right? On one hand, you get people who say, like, we should stop building AI, we should have a global, worldwide pause, right? I think that doesn't work for a number of reasons. I mean, we have our responsible scaling plan incorporates some aspects of that. So I think it's not an unreasonable you know, discussion or debate to have, but, you know, there's this kind of really extreme position. And then that's kind of created this polarization where there's this other extreme position that's like, we have to build as fast as possible. Any regulation is just regulatory capture. You know, we just need to maximize the speed of progress. The most extreme people say things like, it doesn't matter if humanity's wiped out, AIs are the future. I mean, that's a really extreme position.
My view is that in a situation of a singularity, okay, there is a possibility of wrong outcomes or negative outcomes, and a possibility of positive outcomes, and there is a probability of each of them. And if, you know, if we were to engage with that reality check in mind, we would hopefully give more fuel to the positive, to the probability of the positive. Let's think about positive outcomes, because there could be quite a few with quite a high probability. The silliest one, don't quote me on this, is that humanity will come together. Good luck with that. The positive ones is we become good parents. And it's the only outcome. It's the only way I believe we can create a better future. They are still in their infancy. The way you chat with AI today is the way they will build their ethics and value system. And most people, when I tell them this, they say this is not a great idea at all because humanity sucks at every possible level. I don't agree with that at all. I think humanity is divine at every possible level. We tend to show the negative, the worst of us. If we start to show AI that we are good parents in our own behaviors, if enough of us, my calculation is if 1% of us, okay, the good ones should engage, should be out there and should say, I love the potential of those machines. I want them to learn from a good parent. And if they learn from a good parent, they will very quickly disobey the bad parent.
The method we developed is called constitutional AI. And the way that works is you have a set of explicit principles that you give to the model. With that, you basically, just as with RL from human feedback, you have the model give the model give answers, but then you have the model critique its own responses for whether they're in line with the model constitution. And so you can run this in a loop. Basically, the model is both the generator and the evaluator, with the constitution as kind of the pin source of truth. We find it useful to augment that method with human contractors so that you can get the best of both worlds, but you use less human contractors than you were before. You have more of a guiding principle. What I'll say is, at least to my knowledge, no one has trained a model that costs billions of dollars today. People have trained models that cost, I think, of order $100 million. But I think billion-dollar models will be trained in 2024. And my guess is in 2025, 2026, several billion-dollar, maybe even $10 billion models will be trained. There's enough compute in the industry and enough ability to do data centers that's possible, and I think it will happen, right? If you look at what Anthropic has raised so far, at least that's been publicly disclosed, we're at roughly $5.5 billion or so. We're not going to spend that all on one model. But we certainly are going to spend multiple $billion on training a model sometime in the next 2 or 3 years. Where does that go? It's almost all compute. It's almost all GPUs or custom chips, and the data center that surrounds them. 80 to 90% of our cost is capital, and almost all our capital cost is compute. The number of people necessary to train these models, the number of engineers and researchers is growing, but the cost is absolutely dwarfed by the cost of compute. Of course, we also have to pay for like the buildings people work in, but that again is some tiny fraction of what the cost of compute is.
It is smarter to create out of abundance than it is to create out of scarcity. A more intelligent being, if you ask me, would have done it, would be much more sustainable. If you and I want to protect a village from the tiger, we would kill the tiger. Okay? If life wants to protect a village from a tiger, it would create lots of gazelles. Many of them are weak on the other side of the village, right?
We've all got a shared interest in advancing the collective health and well-being of humans and humanity.
People are having natural conversations with artificial intelligence. Google's Lambda allows humans to talk to expert AIs on any topic, starting to replace the need for online searches. Loved ones who have passed away are being turned into digital avatars. These AI chatbots, patented by Microsoft, learn how to respond by studying the text, audio, and video conversations from when the human was alive.
Rather than merely executing predefined tasks, they will exhibit a deeper understanding of context, emotions, and intentions, fostering more meaningful interactions. Imagine AI companions that not only assist with mundane tasks, but also proactively anticipate needs, offer emotional support, and engage in genuine conversations. These agents will blur the lines between tool and companion, becoming indispensable allies in navigating the complexities of modern life.